All right, I'm all ready to go.
Okay, I put it in R.
We're at the draft. All right, we're gonna be going live. And what division is this? What division did we say it was? Shit, I'm
It
sorry.
is Targon.
Targon. All right. Ready in 3. Sorry, 3. Why is this keep moving around on me? 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining us today. We are going over to the Targon division. I'm Burden Chaos, and I'm joined by Abba Trombone. Say hi, Abba.
Hello! Lovely seeing you here on the Summoner's Rift. This will be an exciting match here to be had. It's in the Rumble stage, so whoever ends up losing this best of 3 is going to get knocked out. So the stakes are there.
So right now we're already getting along with bands, and that's going to be Flash Abusers on the blue side, and that's going to be 5 Cheese Ravioli on the red side. And I think we just had the new update. We have the new Yumi rework. Do you think that she's going to be likely picked here, or you think you find that to still probably be unpopular?
Probably going to be unpopular. Even before these nerfs occurred, I don't think I've cast a single game containing a Yumi, regardless if there's been someone who can just really abuse it, like a Maokai, who just gets super tanky, or a Hecarim, who just gets that extra movement speed benefit as well. Bot lane tends to be a pretty strong lane where people tend to put their resources and gank, and Yumi doesn't have that earlier setup, and you only have a little bit once you hit that level 6 power spike. So I don't foresee that coming out, but it's entirely possible that that could happen. I've been wrong before.
So right now we're going to be seeing. I'm kind of surprised to see an Akali ban here in this first rotation, but it is a fairly decent flex option. It can be put into the top lane, it can be put into the mid lane. So I don't think it's a bad ban. And also, I think Seraphine's a good one. Very good flex capability with the mid lane or support.
Well,
But we're going to be having Udyr and Kaisa come out of Flash Abusers.
yeah, I don't really like fighting Udyr either with the mobility just running at you. It can be a little bit degenerate at times. He can just really set up his team as well. And Akali has some of the similar issues with that as well. It's difficult to interact with the Shroud just on how it's designed. And of course, once that champion gets ahead, you are just going to be in a world of pain. So all of these bans so far make sense to me. We'll have to see what this final ban is going to be. It looks like it's Jhin for the bot lane, so we'll have to see what Flash Abusers are going to try and prioritize for their game plan. Are they going to pick someone like a jungler who's going to really solidify their team here, or are they going to find a carry that the other team might be trying to contest and make sure that that's in their draft and roster so that they're going to have to adapt on the other side of this board?
Maokai Sej? Oh, okay, Cho'Gath. All right. I'm going to guess Maokai or Sej right out of the gate, but I'm surprised to see Cho'Gath. Cho'Gath does have a little bit of versatility. Can be played in the top, mid, or jungle. Jungle not as often, but is still pretty viable at this point in time. So I think Cho'Gath is very versatile, can put up with a lot of different lane bullies, is able to sustain his way through it. So that's going to be a Mordekaiser return pick, and also kind of a flex pick with the top and jungle placement. You don't see it very often mid, but Mordekaiser definitely can find his home there.
Yeah, one of the issues with picking a top laner or someone who's most likely going to be in the top lane is it's a bit of a counter matchup where if you're able to get the counter matchup there, tends to be a 1v1 lane, especially if your team doesn't deem you to necessarily be a win con. So you tend to be on the weaker side of the map where you have bot being a little bit stronger with how often people are fighting over dragons. So this could come to bite Flash Abusers in the butt, but they have plenty of time to rotate through this. It looks like Olaf here is going to be matching the Mordekaiser. If they both go into the jungle, Olaf is going to be able to do some early aggression and just be very strong in the early game. Or if they have a Mordekaiser top, Olaf just decimates that lane. The axe slow just lets them run them down, the extra shielding to go with it. And don't forget about Ragnarok, which just rips through the Death Realm, does not care, isn't going to care about Sejuani's CC as well. So a very strong pick, especially if you have any healing to back it up.
So right now, I think you can kind of hold Olaf for the champ select stage and just see where Mordekaiser is going to be picked, because Sejuani could be flex top. I doubt it. But if Mordekaiser does go top lane, you could just throw an Olaf up there. And Olaf, as you aforementioned, just rips Mordekaiser apart. And then you could throw Cho'Gath, still optional to go in the mid lane or into the jungle himself. And he can kind of match Sejuani for clear speed, and can still do a lot of these engages. Obviously doesn't have the dive capability, but with the Q rupture, you're able to get that knockup from very far away. So
my guess is they're going to go with a protect the carry comp here on FCR, with Vayne being such a potent tank killer. It's going to be able to chew through any of their tanks. Unfortunately, she won't be able to condemn Olaf, pin him up against the wall, and just auto him. He can just run them down. So he's going to be able to ignore Sejuani or Mordekaiser's rip there if he gets able to stick onto it. Vayne does have a little bit of a weaker lane side, so it makes sense for some of these bot bans. She has a pretty solid winning matchup versus Jhin, as it's easier to get 3 auto attacks rather than get a 4th shot prepared and then fired with it. Of course, her range deficit versus Jhin is quite potent, but the Tristana ban definitely makes sense with the amount of setup. I know I said it's harder to get 4 shots than 3, but with Tristana's early level 2 all-in or level 3 all-in, it can be quite monstrous when you're facing that, especially if you're not allowed to farm and scale like you need to on such a hyper carry.
So right now, what do you want to save the counter pick for? Do you want to save it for the mid lane, or would you like to save that really for the support pick and then just have that be a lot of your answers and for a lot of the problems that Flash Abusers presents?
Well, no matter what Flash Abusers or FCR ends up doing, they need to get some form of wave clear. So they don't necessarily need to hold for the mid lane pick, although it looks like they're going with Renata Glass just to make sure they can't run Vayne down, which certainly makes sense with everything I've been talking about with Olaf. So a very safe pick here should help them a ton. But the mid lane pick here, they're going to have to be picking a counter pick to a soul that still rounds their comp off. And like I said, they don't have the best wave clear. Mordekaiser's got some decent ones, but Vayne is all single target. Not a Glass, can't help that much. And Sejuani's isn't particularly well to be desired. Meanwhile, Olaf has a pretty decent wave clear, and Aurelion Soul does. So they're not going to be able to answer some of these waves, and they might be slower to get to some of these team fights if they don't get a nice, juicy lead. And with them being a more scaling-oriented comp, with Mordekaiser being a Juggernaut and Vayne being hyper carry, that'll be more difficult to do.
So right now we're going to be seeing out of the bot lane for Flash Abuser. It's going to be Raka and Senna here. Kind of more of an interesting setup here. I don't see Senna often put in the ADC role.
She had a little bit of some upcoming changes, which makes her more viable as an AD carry. I believe it's just some extra soul trances to get. Nothing super game-changing. I believe Skill Capped ended up putting her as like a B or maybe an A tier AD carry. Still viable, but with all the healing that's going to be going with it, they're going to be able to do some nice trades. Senna has a decent range as well, and some self-peel to try and get away from it. Of course, there's definitely mobility on here. Sejuani has a dash. Vayne has her tumble. Yone has his entire kit, let's face it. So it's going to be a little bit more difficult to do that. But it's also going to be harder to dive into Flash Abusers with that silence as well.
All right, so we're going to be getting into Champ Select here, and we're just going to be getting the bands coming through. All right, so first initial thoughts. What side do you think kind of takes the cake for draft? Who do you think has a little bit of the advantage?
I believe Flash Abusers monsters should have the edge here. They have nice scalability. Senna stacks pretty well as Aurelion Soul, and we know how monstrous Soraka can be with her healing. And then, of course, there's good early game here as well. Olaf being a strong early game champion that's going to help get leads onto characters that you need, whether you want just a strict ASOL carry or if you want Senna to just be able to stack farm, get some kills, and go from there. If the game does go super late, FCR does have a good chance of taking this back, but I don't think they're going to be able to get the lead that they need to push into the late game.
So, and you said if this goes like monstrously late, I mean, you still for flash abusers, as you aforementioned, you have the Stardust, you have the Absolution, you have the Feast stacks on the Cho'Gath. You have a lot of stuff that can go into the late game. Do you think that Vayne will have an issue with those things, or is she
percent max health damage?
Yeah. No. Sorry, I was gonna say that's true. I think is the more important aspect. So yeah, she'll still make Cho'Gath quite sad here, but
Cho'Gath won't get as much value necessarily out of it, being he's gonna be the front line, and Vayne's probably gonna be able to poke at that. She's gonna have to stay a little bit further back, but Renata also could make some of these engages a little bit more difficult into the late game. Of course, Aurelion Soul, we know how much of a monster this dragon can be, hoarding his wealth and just wreaking havoc on the enemy team as well. But he can also be a little bit vulnerable, try to overextend, and if he gets CC'd through a Condemn or anything else that FCR throws at them with the Yone, Renata, Vayne, Sejuani, or Mordekaiser in his Death Realm, that's quite potent as well, especially when you're taking these stats as well, if you're able to get these kills.
So as of right now, just I'm kind of curious as to how this top lane is going to go. I think it's going to be a little bit of a handshake. I don't know if either side can definitely guarantee a kill pre-6. I mean, you have the carnivore stacks coming out from Cho'Gath, able to just kind of heal him up and just get him through the lane. Mordekaiser obviously has the innate healing with his W, so I think I think it'll be quite tough to secure a kill up there. But definitely with Mordekaiser and Sejuani, they might be trying to go for a possible look against Small Broski on the top side.
They could. It's a little bit harder to gank a Mordekaiser once they get into 6 because it just turns into a 1v1. But of course, with Olaf's kit, that's not necessarily going to be the case. But they can always just ultimate the other champion for sure. My guess is Cho'Gath is just going to be like a nice trading lane with his Vorpal spikes, grasp. Meanwhile, Mordekaiser's just going to try and get in line with probably like a Conqueror style build. Just get really big, do his damage, and win these fights that he needs.
So, and also for the mid lane, like right now, I think the mid lane is going to be the most volatile because like in the early game, you have Aurelion Sol, who does not have any hard CC in the early game whatsoever. I mean, you have the Black Hole, which does like a little bit of tethering in the early game, but that's not going to stop Yone's just kind of I was going to say ungodly movement. Yeah. Where he's going to be able to get away from this. Obviously, ASOL is going to have to play this very, very safe, but Sejuani could kind of come in, get some of these Frostbite stacks with Yone, and kind of lock down Aurelion Sol and stun him.
Yeah,
and if he's stunned, he can't use his channeled ability.
That is very true. He does have some mobility of his own where he just kind of glides back, but that's not going to be necessarily a dash. That being said, I think Aurelion Sol is going to have to give some sort of priority to Yone here. Otherwise, if he pushes up too far, he might be fighting a jungler or just 1v1ing the Yone. He's going to be needing to have a nice safe net to make sure he's safe. Perhaps Ghost Tilt Lifter here will try and just hover around that spot as well, jumping in between mid and his other priority lane to try and make sure that they're safe and make sure these fights are even or favorable for them on the side of Flash abusers.
So, the lane we kind of haven't really talked about so far is the bot lane. Do you think that Senna and Raka are going to be able to withstand Vayne and Glask?
So this is more of a handshake lane. You both have enchanters. Senna is going to be able to do a little bit more trading with the range advantage, and Soraka as well with her little Q harass. They're both not really all in lanes, but the CC setup is going to be stronger on the side of 5G's Ravioli. So once they hit 6, they could possibly just run them down if they're not careful on the side of Flash abusers. But it's going to be a bit of a farming battle here, from my understanding of how this is going to play out. It might not be the most exciting lane.
All right. Well, with all this in mind, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be right back with game 1. Don't go anywhere. Grab some popcorn if you can, and we will see you soon on the Rift. Go. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are getting into game 1. Right now, we're going to be seeing mostly just a standard, just kind of a 5-man
A
setup.
standard 5-point. Both teams here wishing each other good luck, unless you're Bento, who says you cannot have fun in League of Legends. A hard disagree here. It'll be an exciting lineup between these teams.
So, do you see anything anything you're surprised by Keystones wise?
Keystone wise, Vietnam Dragon going first strike, they're going to be able to get some extra gold, but with the way FCR 5 Cheese Ravioli wants, I'm surprised they're not going something a little bit more safe. Rather, because first strike is a little bit greedy, especially with a tier. That means your earlier laning is going to be a little bit more weak and vulnerable versus George.
So effectively, you're saying like you're just putting yourself very much in a power trough, and then to hopefully come out of that in the late game.
Yeah, it'll be a little bit of a power trough for sure. You're just playing weaker. You're playing weak when you're going to be the weaker lane, anyways, which makes it more dangerous. Of course, if it pays off, like it's a huge gambit to win, but it's not a likely
Uh-oh.
one.
Small Broski's going to be taking a lot of damage here, and the Conqueror's going to get stacked up for Ricotta, trying to throw back some of the Vorpal spikes, but he's going to be taking the losing end of that trade on the top side.
Yeah, Ricotta there pulling out Art of the Deal, making sure he gets a nice, sweet trade onto them, getting the heals from the Conqueror, and just landing his abilities there. An extended trade is definitely favored by
We're going to
him.
be seeing 2 spike coming in. Right now, Chaos is trying to roll and tumble up and unable to find really a lot of damage.
Yeah,
And
they're just going to be
PBG's looking.
yeah, they're just going to be trying to slow push here, make sure Bento and Linen 123 aren't going to be able to get their gold, but they ended up pushing a little bit too fast, so they're not going to get as much of that level 2 power spike.
Curse going to be coming into the mid lane right now. Will they be able to get the frostbite stacks? They're unable to, and Vietnam is just going to be slowly gliding his way out. So
yeah, oh, taking a tower shot in the top lane. There, the turret ranges they've been changed throughout the seasons, but there hasn't been anyone's changing it as of a recent with this patch. So just something to watch out for.
absolutely. So Sejuani slowed down her clear speed to attempt a gank on the mid lane. It was unsuccessful, and Olaf just went for a full clear. So now he's going to be ahead here in the jungle.
Yeah, and it's going to win the Scuttle race too. So he's going to be able to go over to that Scuttle, get an extra vision for his team, and an extra camp effectively as well. I know Scuttle's gold and XP have changed throughout Season 12 and Season 13, so hopefully he gets the value he needs here. He's going to be caught out in a lot of wards here, no matter what he chooses, whether it was top like he's doing or to the mid lane.
Yeah, as of right now, he didn't start with sweeper, so he's definitely going to be caught out on a lot of this, and Ricotta is just going to be playing away from that. But I'm very interested to see how Vietnam is going to be playing throughout this game, because obviously right now that's going to be Lean getting the root on the bot side. They're getting quite low. That was a nice condemn into the wall. Chaos going to be then playing away from that. PBG going down to half health. I'm kind of excited to see how mid lane plays out.
Well, we shouldn't get too tangled up into mid lane here. It looks like we're getting a sweet 3v2 into here. This could be first blood.
This is probably going to be Lean's trying to do as much as he can, go out, try and deal as much damage, but that first blood is going to be going over to Wolf here in the jungle.
Yeah, no sides coming out of flash abusers there. So they weren't flashing any of the key abilities there. They deemed that they were just going to die in this scenario, but Chaos here and PBG ended up using some of their key summoners here. A flash for coming out of PBG, which is a 5-minute cooldown, and heal, which is also a big cooldown, but not quite as large. And of course, this gold going over to Cursed Wolf is just going to reward for some of these earlier ganks that we saw. Of course, they are down 8 farm here versus Ghost Lifter, which is not necessarily where you want to be, but getting some of that value is going to be quite helpful for your team. The gold between both of these junglers being slightly in favor of Cursed Wolf, but the XP being behind in this scenario. So we'll have to see if that extra 100 gold is worth the XP differential.
Also, an important thing to note that this isn't just like an ADC Senna. This is a starving Senna lineup here. We're going to be having Ricotta coming in with the Death Realm. Small Broski unable to get the Rupture, get the knockup, and now he's getting quite low. Ricotta is just most likely going to be taking him down, whittling him down. That's going to be a flash coming out from Broski. He's going to be dying as a result. And now the action's not over. Regina's just going to be taking down Vietnam here in the mid lane. And this is just flash abusers dying all across the board. Ghost Lifter will be taking the dragon, but now is in risk of their own life. And there's going to be 2 of them fighting it out. That's going to be Ghost getting quite low. He's going to be running away from this. That's going to be Flash coming in from Wolf, but Wolf's trying to might get the kill turnaround on him, but Ghost is going to be getting on out in light of Regina rotating down.
Yeah, five cheese ravioli abusing the enemy team's flashes, making sure they're on cooldown and that they're going to be a little bit more vulnerable here. It looks like they're going to have a stronger early game here, sitting at a 900 gold lead and 3 kills, which adds up to be that difference.
Uh-oh, and right now we're just seeing what we were talking about in the earlier game, where this is just going to be Yone just dashing through. Uh-oh, right now Ricotta is just going to be running down Broski, and Broski's just going to be taking a fat chunk of damage in return. But the minion wave will be getting under tower, so it'll bounce back, thankfully, for him.
Yeah, neither of these people on top lane have teleport, so the wave management is going to come a little bit more important here because of how things are going to be bouncing back. The XP and the gold changing hands is really going to be determined by this wave management. We've seen Ghostlifter being towards the dragon or mid. Oh, he's been all over the map, but Cursed Wolf has been hovering more into the mid and bot side.
And as of right now, I think that is a correct choice. I don't know if you really need to gank for this Mordekaiser, who at this point already has the Leeching Leer, has the level advantage here in the top side, so he's already kind of pretty set up for this game.
Yeah, that's a good spike to have here. We know that ADCs love their Noon Quiver, but the Leeching Leer is going to be about the same. Of course, you're going to get some extra lifesteal rather than attack speed out of it, but it's just going to get you pretty close to your Mythic, as it's one of the more expensive components that go with it. It looks like they also have a boost to try and extend out some of these trades, because a small Broski wants these very short ones, although he might be a little punished here.
Uh-oh, there's going to be the Glacial Prison coming over the wall. And right now, Broski's going to be able to get the knockup. The Death Realm is coming through from Ricotta. He's just going to be escaping under tower. That's the flash in from Ricotta. He's going to be getting quite low himself, but they're unable to secure this kill. That was a lot of time wasted for 5 Cheese. Kind of trying to secure a kill in this top side of the map.
Yeah, it looks like five cheese ravioli are not able to feast amongst the top lane and to try and get some of these kills. Looks like Regina George just doing some more trading here as well. But if we look at how Regina George is playing, he's able to get the wave pushed here. And of course, Rakata is also getting the wave pushed here, which is an excellent setup for a Rift Herald to try and get this onto their team, get some extra plates, some pressure, and some possible tempo here, as flash abusers are gonna have to respond here, and it looks like the answer they're giving is invading.
Uh-oh, that's going to be Fate Sealed coming in from Regina George. That's going to be a not a flash away. That's just going to be a glide away from Vietnam. So that was Regina George's ultimate and flash, but now the minions are in a bad position for Vietnam, but he's able to kind of glide away with his life. So I think that's maybe a very worthwhile trade here.
Yeah. No summoners, 4 summoners, and you're still able to farm. A good trade to be had. And I have to point out here that this invasion was the entire quadrant from Cursed Wolves, whose wolves were stolen, which is not going to be good for them, as you need to be tanky for these engages, otherwise you might die. And Ghostlifter just having some gold is going to be able to get to his mythic power spike sooner and possibly just fight over this Rift Herald, as he's just going to be stronger than most people.
Uh-oh. And yeah, we might be seeing another fight here in this top side. Vietnam was rotating up, but it doesn't appear that a fight will be necessarily breaking out. But I am quite surprised, speaking of tanky, that Sejuani, that Cursed Wolf is going to be going for the plated steel caps here instead of a Merc Treads. I don't know if there's really a lot of an AD threat she needs to be worrying about.
Well, Linen is going to be an AD threat, and of course, Ghostlifter can also be an AD threat as well. Gets in a lot of auto attacks, but there's also a lot of crowd control that they might have to be worrying about as well. So I could see that as an option. I could also see just any sort of mobility here, trying to answer in between everything.
Ooh, that's going to be Ghost Realm coming out of Ricotta. Ricotta is going to be trying to come after Broski. Broski is not going to be turning this around, but this is going to be FCR going to be going for the Dragon here. This is going to be the second one, and it is Ocean Drag.
Ocean Drag, it's going to delay Flash Abuser's soul if they're trying to go for that.
Uh-oh.
So George getting caught out here.
Going to be stopping the Fate Unsealed. He's unable to get over the wall, and Regina George is then going to be going down. But now Ghost Lister's in a bad spot, trying to get away best he can, but he's unable to. He's going to be picked up by Ricotta, and now they're going to be rotating this into a Rift Herald. So they went from Dragon immediately over to Rift, and they're going to be getting both of these objectives.
Yeah, getting both objectives here is very important. It's just extra global gold here. We saw the gold difference shrink up to about 300 gold, but it's just going to be escaping here. Though Flash Abuser having an excellent play, taking some turrets here, being that Chaos and PBG are gone for this setup entirely because they were roaming mid or roaming to try and get that Rift Herald secure. Of course, the gold from these plates is going to be able to equalize some of that out, but not getting into that deficit as much as you normally would be is very well done.
So right now, it seems that we're going to be kind of playing more for that time right now. You have the bot side. Vayne is 30 CS up on her. Sorry. Yeah, kind of
like 20. It's like 20,
25 CS up on her Soraka counterpart. So doing a very good job on the bot side. But across the map, we're seeing some fairly even numbers. Actually, notable exception would be Ghost Lifter over Cursed Wolf. But Cursed Wolf has been able to find a lot more of these effective ganks.
Yeah, Cursed Wolf has, the response has just been to steal their farm. Of course, the jungle has changed up just a little bit. I believe this patch that just came out Wednesday, I believe it was, that they reverted a lot of those damage reductions you would see into the counter jungling. So we'll have to see if this tactic is going to be paying off. Although I have to point out here, Ghost Lifter is strongest in the early game. He's got to make use of this mythic here.
Absolutely. And, right now we're going to be getting into some action. Lean is trying to get some of the damage off, but now we have 4 people coming into the bot side. Chaos trying to get away. That's going to be the hostile takeover coming through. The Skies Descend, unable to find any of the stuns, and they're going to be able to get away. And the bot side there for 5 Cheese. So that's very big for them. The hostile takeover, unable to pick up anyone, but they're still able to just have enough move speed to get away from that.
2 ultimates for sure, and then living is important. And you get a counterplay topside here. It looks like Small Broski's going to be dove. Well, the Rift Herald is going to be taking some of this damage after they escape the turret range.
So an important thing is that you can actually feast on the Rift Herald when it's dropped in a lane, and it does not go against your feast, the 6 stacks. So it's kind of nice that it was up at that timer.
Yeah, very nice for sure. The extra HP is just going to be able to make sure he's alive and going well. It looks like he's going to be going for a heartsteal here as well. So he's just trying to be a very, very big boy. Meanwhile, Ricotta with the mythic coming out here, the Rift Maker.
Regina George is going to be popping over the wall. Just, yeah. Soul Unbound is a fun ability. Just going to be going over the wall, instantly taking that control ward, and just going to be walking away. But right now, Small Broski in some trouble here. Trying to get some of the silence to knock up, but we have Death Realm coming out again, and Ricotta's going to be slamming down a lot of this damage onto Broski. He's going to be playing away over towards Vietnam when he comes out of this. That's going to be the knockup. Ricotta's going to be getting quite low here, and he's going to be going down, giving the big shutdown over to Vietnam, giving 450 gold over to him.
Yeah, with the wave shoving, that is nice. We'll have to see if they're going to be able to get under tower in the 20 seconds that he's going to be coming up Ricotta. Just denying him some golden XP, and it looks like Ghost Lifter is trying to steal some of these Krugs using his level leverage, as well as some of this extra damage he has, as he already has a Gore Drinker versus Cursed Wolf doesn't have their Mythic yet. They only have their Aegis here protecting them.
I mean, speaking of Mythics, right now across the map, the only person to have they just literally picked it up. The only person to have a Mythic on 5 Cheese was was more guys. Ooh, that's gonna be Skies Descend coming out, and Regina George is gonna have to use a Fate Unsealed to get away from that. But you have so many Mythics on the side of Flash Abusers at the moment.
Yeah, the only one that isn't there is the Famine Senna, who's going to be a little bit hungry for some gold here, if you will. Although going to be able to get some stacks, just being able to try and poke them out just a little bit.
So right now we're going to be seeing a Heartsteel on the Cho'Gath on the top side. Not a very surprising pick. He wants to be playing for a lot of these big health numbers here, which is not surprising whatsoever, but a lot of damage coming out from these Vorpal spikes onto Rakata. He's starting to slowly but surely whittle Rakata down. He is at a level deficit, but
Yeah, the extra health coming out of Hearthsteel is going to make his feast a little bit stronger. Of course, his other abilities don't scale with HP, so he's going to be able to use it a little bit more effectively than some other characters. Like we just saw how much damage that proc did there with Vorpal strikes.
so we have Dragon coming up here. Ghostlifter wanting to go for this, but he's all by himself. We don't have vision set up, and you still have Soraka here on the bot side. I think this is going to be a very wishful act here. Oh my gosh, going to be going over the wall. The Ragnarok now just putting in a lot of damage. Chaos getting quite low here. The hostile takeover is not going to be doing any damage there. That's going to be Bailout coming in onto Chaos, but unable to get anything. That's going to be a double kill for Ghostlifter. And right now it's Regina all by themselves. Is he going to burn? That's going to be a knockup going over to Small Broski. And that is going to be a steal and a triple kill for Flash Abusers. Wow, what a turnaround of that play.
So here's what went on. We saw this excellent use of the Blast Cone going over, stealing the Smite, a risky play. Gore Drinker, they're getting him a ton of health, around 300 HP. Amongst other things, that Chaos ended up trying to go for some damage with the Kraken Slayer. They didn't have a shield bow to protect them, so PBG's Bailout didn't get there because they weren't able to get that kill. And then once that kill went through, PBG died, and then the return came, and we're already seeing this bleed into the bot lane. This could be an early bot tower, which means that Pento's going to be able to farm a little bit safer, so they want to go to the mid lane in Vietnam change. That might not be the case. Maybe they want to play for Vietnam here as well, but that's not going to be good for 5G's Ravioli. Maybe they're not going to be pushing out the lane as much. Maybe Cheese can pick up some of this extra farm, but the objective bounty is going to push them into a 4K gold lead, and they're at 2 dragons.
Wow, that's honestly quite impressive to just see the turnaround of that play. And honestly, that was just really big coming in from Ghost. He was going to be taking the kind of the gank loss. He didn't really create a lot of early tempo for his team and just kind of farmed it out, took a lot of extra farm over from Cursed Wolf, and that's really starting to show with that play.
It's 7,000 gold versus 5,500. That's how much of a difference these invades have been.
Uh-oh. Small Broski going to be in some trouble. You're going to have a TP coming out. Small Broski at least trying to get some of these Heartsteel stacks before he goes down. That's going to be Flash. It's going to be triple knockup. Sky's Ascent coming through. The hostile takeover coming through, and that's going to be the Bailout trying to save some of the teammates, but PBG is going to be getting quite low. That's going to be a double kill for Vietnam Dragon. Ooh, that's going to be Ghostlifter. Yeah, the shield is going to be going down. The Glacial Prison going to be getting him. Small Broski is going to be getting that last pickup, but wow, what a disaster of a play for 5Cheese.
Yeah, 5Cheese losing their top tower here as well. Just the numbers advantage, and all of this being stacked neatly in. Of course, the suck from the black hole that we're seeing out of Vietnam Dragon, the singularity, pulling them in. Of course, Small Broski's going to be able to capitalize this as well, and getting all of those picks, super important. And now they have 2 sides to push up on. Of course, the mid lane being the shortest is going to be more vulnerable here, and once this collapses, Ghostlifter's going to be able to invade even more. And with his second item here, a Black Cleaver is going to be ripping through their armor, and they're going to have a hard time running away because Vietnam Dragon also has hit their second item with a Rylai's Crystal Scepter, getting extra slows, making it harder to escape Singularity. Get those stacks and just become an absolute monster. And they already have their tier stacked as well. Their greed ended up paying off here.
Ooh, Regina George already getting quite low here. That's going to be Fate Unsealed. That's going to be missing there, not finding anyone, but that's going to be Regina George going down to Lean 1, 2, 3. Good spacing there by Lean, putting in a lot of damage at the cost of his flash.
Yeah, that is certainly how that ended up playing out. They almost got the mid tower. It's going to be free for the taking for the most part. Just need one wave crash, and that objective bounty is going to be important here. It looks like Cursed Wolf wasn't quite able to get the setup onto Bento here, but Small Broski might be coming out.
Right now, he's going to be in the death realm. That's going to be a long fight here, but Small Broski getting quite low, getting pulled back in. That's going to be the rocket heal coming through, but unable to save him. That's going to be Flash coming in from Rakata. Is he able to save his teammate? Unable to. That's going to be shut down going over to Rakata. And Vietnam, right now, Lean is caught out by the Glacial Prison, but the Ragnarok coming out from, Ghost Lifter's not going to be able to save him, but the three-man Skies Descent is going to be massive here. Right now, they're going to be trying to play out best he can. Vietnam Dragon's flying over the walls, is just vomiting Stardust, and Vietnam Dragon is still unstoppable, getting away from this plate. Right now, Lean is going to just get collapsed on here, and Lean's in trouble and going down over to Regina George. And now it's just up to Vietnam Dragon and Bento here.
Yeah, Flash abusers here wishing they were getting some more picks out of that play with the Dragon coming up right now. And of course, their mid lane tower is looking quite vulnerable here. Rakata just being able to walk up, and of course, Chaos just being able to get one hit out for that. Ghost Lifter wasn't able to hit the key carries there. They were putting their damage into Cursed Wolf, which means Chaos was just able to take stuff out of control, and PBG had an excellent choke point in the jungle.
So right now, there's going to be, just Dragon going over to FCR here. Kind of uncontested. Going to be getting rid of the Blast Cone this time. We're not going to be falling for that trick again.
Yeah, and Broski had an excellent setup here as well. Feast was up, which was going to do a lot of damage, sitting at around 773 true damage. So not quite what Smite would be, but if it's down, they would have been able to possibly contest it, as they don't have a shutdown on Small Broski at all. Probably not worth it, but it would put them on Soul Point, which is a threat in itself. Just getting some extra pressure onto 5 Cheese Ravioli, hitting into the mid game.
I think an important thing to be looking at for Broski in himself is he does not have upgraded boots yet at this point, but does have a Force of Nature. So definitely wanting to get away from this AP threat, but it hasn't been really considered kind of going for Merc Treads at this point. Honestly, I think for Broski, either boots are viable options. But both are pretty good here, but I think you maybe want to go for that just to get that extra movement speed. I think movement speed is quite unparalleled.
Really helps. Of course, Force of Nature's what, 1,000 damage, which is nothing to scoff at this point.
Oh, absolutely not. Yeah, no, it's very good.
But do you know what also prevents damage? Not getting hit, aka movement speed.
Yep.
Another thing is, 5 Cheese Ravioli has really had superior ward setup. You don't necessarily see this through the vision scores being pretty close. Of course, Ghost Lifter doubling what Cursed Wolf has, but it's pretty even amongst the other sides. Some advantages sitting a little bit higher than others, but they're able to get the timings of when these wards are being placed, not necessarily catching a certain number of champions or these wards lasting for as long or buying so many control wards, but they're just able to control the vision when they need to, which is way more important than just number go burr.
Absolutely. And right now, I'm kind of like surprised. Like we had a much larger gold lead, but then FCR was able to just pick up objective bounty after objective bounty, and now really turning this around. So they're getting the vision, they're getting the objective bounties. They have a great potential to really come back into this game.
They certainly do. We were climbing at a 6,000 gold lead coming out of Flash Abusers, but it's mellowed down into around a 4,500, 4.7 difference here. So it could bounce back. 4K is usually enough to secure a decent advantage to extend to, but if you're unable to keep getting this lead and you lose some of these key fights, like we saw around this 4th dragon, then that might not mean as much as it would normally. Oh, it looks like we're getting a pause here. We'll have to see what the issue is.
So, and just for some other, for some out-of-game questions, how many Absolution stacks do we see on Lean right now? Just so we know for all the viewers at home.
Lean has 103.
103 at the 25-minute mark, so doing it very good at that point.
They were sitting around, I want to say, like 60 around the 15-minute mark or something. So they haven't gained as much, but they don't have a lane to necessarily sit and hit people up with. Most people here have hit their 2 item spikes here as well. Like we talked about Broski, but they don't have their boots. Of course, Ghost Lifter has it. Vietnam Dragon has hit their 3 spike. Bento has hit their 2 spike. Rakata here hit their 2 spike as well. And of course, Chaos hit their 2 spike, which is going to be pretty important as well. And PBG has Oblivion Orb. Hasn't done any heal cuts yet. Just bought it pretty recently. But this is going to really put a dent into Ghost Lifter's healing, Bento's healing, and of course, we can't forget Line 123's healing as well.
So and also for other stacks. Okay, yeah, there we go. Feast.
Yeah.
We have this. We've got the 6 coming in. 6 coming out
6
for the minions already. So now we have eight feast stacks on the Cho, giving them almost an extra 1,000 health. And then how many Stardust stacks do we have on Vietnam at this point? That's gonna be around 300. Okay, so 317 exactly. So we're starting to get towards the higher end of things where we're gonna be increasing. Obviously the like astral flight path. We're gonna be getting extra burn damage from the breath of light. The singularity is just getting bigger and bigger. So we're gonna be starting to see some more of these flashy team fights here.
Yeah, the mid game is going to be pretty important here. Baron is on the table, which is going to be a major objective. A lot of towers are down for both teams, 3 and 2, and both of the first turrets, the outermost turrets, are gone in the mid lane and the top lane, which is exactly what you want to have when you're fighting for Baron. So these waves, getting the vision set up like I've been talking about, is going to be very important to try and secure this.
Ghost Lifter and Cursed Wolf going to be going at it. Going to be getting a lot of poke coming through. Chaos is trying to get away from some of this damage, but the Singularity is going to be getting a little bit of the pullback. Lean is pumping out the damage. Chaos down to half health. The loyalty program going to be yeah, it's going to be enough to save him, and Chaos is going to be able to get away from this.
Just barely. They're going to be out of this fight, which means they won't be there to try and contest the dragon. And of course, Broski has a teleport, and George does not. So we'll have to see if they're going to go for a back and have a TP flank to try and support their team should Rakata try and contest this. We're sitting at 6k, so the fight could turn, although with it being so low, they're going to have to commit their damage to the Baron.
Oh, right now we have the hostile takeover coming through, and that's going to be a steal coming through. Vietnam trying to play away the best he can. That's going to be a death realm coming out from Rakata. Going to be getting away from him. Going to be there for the team. We now have the redemption coming through. Rakata is going to then die to Bento. But that's going to be a nice steal for FCR, but that's going to be at the cost of Rakata there.
Yeah, 2 stolen objectives in this game, already at 27 minutes. Talk about a hype game. Getting some nice steals here. Of course, the Baron buff being down on one of your big juggernauts is going to be important. They did have stopwatch and died, but their fate was kind of secured with how things were playing out. And with Dragon coming up in 20 seconds, this is also going to be fairly important as this puts teams on soul point. This is going to be a Chemtech Dragon, not the strongest of all the souls, but it's extra shielding and healing, which both teams get a lot of value out of here.
So important thing to be looking at is PBG does not have hostile takeover at this point. So if they do go for a fight, this could spell disaster. They are still also down the Mordekaiser, so they might be looking for a potential angle. Yeah, they're going to be collapsing in. Right now, Cursed Wolf is in some potential trouble. He's going to be playing away from this. That's going to be Yon, and Regina is going to be trying to get the Fate Sealed out. Is unable to. The Skies Descend, getting the massive knock up there. And Wolf is going to be getting low himself. Ghost Lifter trying to do as much damage, going to be going down to Rakata. Rakata is trying to get some of this damage out to the team. Vietnam is no longer able to be in there, but Broski still having to flash away, getting low himself. Chaos is going to be getting a pickup here. Right now, it's just Bento and Broski. And we have Vietnam on the bottom side, but is unable to get away from Rakata here. Is maybe has the glide, unable to, and that's going to be a massive shutdown going over to Miss Glask here in the bot lane. And this is going to be Dragon going over to 5CR.
Yeah, the thing with how 5Cheese Ravioli's team operates as a whole is that they have a significant advantage in the jungle for a few reasons here. Chaos's Condemn will prevent some of these champions from being able to walk up rather than in a lane. Of course, Ghost Lifter can ignore that, but the more important thing is PBG is going to be able to land their very important skill shot. Bela wasn't cooldown, but it was almost up, so they were able to get it off and secure a lot of these. And they have a very good 4v4 composition. So when Rakata was there to use their Death Realm, that really changed the fight as well, getting them the third dragon and putting them onto Soul Point, getting them closer to a potential win condition here as well. They're just going to be able to have more resistances once they're at 50% or less HP. Not the most exciting thing to have. Certainly something Ghostlifter would love to have with how his kit works, getting a bigger shield on top of that.
Uh-oh, Broski is going to be in potential trouble here. That's going to be Curse Wolf coming in, getting the Frostbite stacks. He's going to be slowed. He's going to be stunned. He's getting knocked up, knocked all around. He's trying to at least go down, getting as many Heartsteel procs as he can. Chaos is not going to be getting the pickup there, and that's going to be going over to PVG, and Vietnam is going to be going in a 1v1 with George. That's going to be the Fate Unsealed missing. That's going to be all that damage missing. Unable to get the grab onto Vietnam. He's just going to get more Stardust stacks here in the bot lane.
Yeah, so all of these plays have happened because of overextensions, and they could tell they were overextended, just like George is right now, because of the vision here. 4 people rotating on him, and with his ultimate being down, his fate was unsealed, and he's going to be going into the fountain.
Yeah, that's just gonna. New Dragon is absolutely crazy and scary. Is going to be getting away from this, and I'm not surprised. But we're going to be starting to see a lot more of the kind of QSS options coming out from the side of Flash abusers here. I think we're going to be seeing a Mikhail's Crucible coming in from Bento. We have the there it is. And then we also have the actually it's no longer Mikhail's Crucible. That's what it used to be. Apologies. That's going to be Mikhail's Blessing. And then we also have the QSS on the Ace Soul at this time. And we have QSS on the on Lean here. So not surprised to see it.
Here as well, already stopping 800 healing, and we hit 3 items on Chaos. So 3 items is your big power spike as a carry, and these are strong items. You're going to be able to do a lot of damage and lean into these teams, so you're only going to be getting stronger here. George hit their big 2-item power spike, so they're going to be able to do some more damage provided they land their skill shots, of course. But more importantly here, they're starting to get to the later stage of the game where they're going to be favored. Of course, they don't have the gold lead, but it's been shrinking. The deficit for 5G's Ravioli has been shrinking because of the words that I was talking about. All of these plays that they've been able to do were set up and getting advantages through vision. Gold isn't the only stat in this game. It's not the only important thing. Vision helps these team fights get your skill shots, get the information you need, and make the correct macro choices.
Okay, I think vision absolutely important, but I also think a flame horizon in the bot lane is also very important. Right now, I'm like Vayne being able to outpace Bento obviously in the farming area, not a surprise, but it's already grown. It's already a flame horizon at the 30 minutes.
Yeah, Baron's coming up here in 5 seconds, so this fight is going to be over some of the vision, and there could be a return collapse here. There's a split push coming out of Rakata, who has teleport, can change the numbers here, not with just the TP, but with the Death Realm as well, and all this damage going into the Baron. That means that 5G's Ravioli is going to have theirs up to put in the Flash abusers.
That's hostile takeover and being used right out of the gate. Bento's the only one caught by it. And they're going to be letting Baron heal back up. And right now, I think we might be seeing a potential play for Dragon. This is Soul coming in.
They could. I think Baron here is just going to be a little bit stronger for both teams. But Soul is certainly a potential option for them to go to. I don't think this Dragon is quite as strong. They don't need it as a win condition. The extra gold for sure is nice. They could just trade Baron for Dragon.
Uh-oh, right now Ghost might be caught out by Rakata. Rakata is putting in a lot of damage into him and pushing him away from getting towards this Dragon. And they're going to be on the back end of things here for Flash Abusers, unable to get this vision early for this objective. And right now they're going to be going in for this Dragon. This might just be Soul uncontested Goes Lifter, going to be ghosting in. Oh, no steal again. That's going to be Ragnarok coming out. He's trying to get all the damage he can, but Chaos is going to be getting the kill here. Ricotta is going to be throwing in a lot of this damage. Vietnam trying to do the best he can, having to flash out. No, Singularity is not there yet. That's going to be heal coming in. That's going to be a kill onto Chaos there. The Feast coming through. The hostile takeover back again, ladies and gentlemen. And that's going to be netting them a lot of kills. And Broski is getting lower.
The
but
health regen
wow. That was an amazing amount of health regen. And now they're just going to be rotating this over to the Baron.
Yeah, Flash Abusers here getting Ragnaroked. Unfortunately, Ghostlifter was running in without a care, but his team was too far behind because of his extra movement speed coming out of Ghost. So there wasn't as much follow-up because they didn't quite have the range or setup to really engage for this. Not getting the steal here because so many important people died. That's also going to change things into a Baron. Another gold lead, although not very significant at 500 gold, has changed hands, which means they're going to be able to use this lead. We've seen them do quite well in a gold deficit. We haven't seen them with a gold advantage, especially in a late game team, which means that they're going to be very potent, able to get a lot of pushes because of this Baron buff, getting some extra movement speed onto these minions, being able to crash it, and hopefully they'll be able to coordinate some of these so that Flash Abusers are going to have to make some difficult questions as to which lane can they save, which is too risky, which towers are they just going to have to give, what's a winning scenario. It's going to be difficult for them to get into.
So just kind of looking at this game right now, with Vayne obviously still scaling into this game, and kind of you going with the starving strat here on the bot side, do you think that the bot lane from Flash Abusers is going to be able to match the Glass Vayne at this point in the game, or do you think that
No.
it's a little bit too much of a cheesy option and it's going to start falling off in comparison?
At 150 CS versus a hyper carry,
Yeah.
is really bad. Not being able to farm, bench not being able to get the farm they need is not good.
That's gonna be Frostbite coming out from Cursed Wolf here. They're unable to stop the wave shove. They're gonna be getting obviously some more Stardust with the Singularity, but Vietnam also has Skies Descend, not in the upgraded Falling Star, so this could be a very flashy fight here.
Yeah, some of the rotations to the bot lane, so this could be the tower there as well, unless Small Broski is going to be able to save that tower. It's probably going to be falling with how low it is. Of course, the wave is quite far away, but they might not just care at all. We'll have to see if Ricotta is going to get caught out here with a Ragnarok, or if they're going to be... Oh...
Yeah, that's QSS immediately used from Vietnam. He's going to be getting out of the Death Realm. They're going to be able to take down Ricotta, and right now Broski is all by himself, going to be condemned into the wall, and is going to be just taking too much damage, and Chaos is going to be finding that pickup. Both top laners out of the game right now.
Both top laners out of the game, of course, getting condemned. Dawning Shadow, Wish, and of course, Redemption not being enough to redeem Small Broski. He's going to be dying here. Vietnam Dragon still trying to get some stacks here, being the carry for Flash Abusers, but there's so many threats that they have to answer to. George is gonna be strong with his 100% crit. He only needs the 2 items. It's gonna be hard to get away from them when they have 2 Borks on the side of 5G's Ravioli, and of course the extra movement speed you get out of Vayne, who's just gonna run around and get you. Especially with Phantom Dancer as well, being able to stack that up. They're gonna be able to get through those minions and run you down even more. It'd be hard to get with the extra healing and shielding and the extra resistances when they're low. On top of which, we'll have to see if Flash Abusers is going to be able to abuse the chem plants at all.
Yeah, gotta see about that. One thing to kind of like circle back a little bit, we were talking about Asol being obviously the carry for Flash Abusers. One sad thing is that with QSS, there's not a good like AP item that goes with QSS. Your best option to really build into is just Silvermere Dawn, which adds like some extra health, a little bit of MR, but for the most part, it's not stats you necessarily want on the dragon, so it's a little bit of a dud for an item.
Yeah, you're almost better with like a stopwatch or something, or just being able to like fight things out. One of my issues with building QSS sometimes is it a they have so much CC, my god, I have to build this item, or is it, hey, am I just standing in the wrong spot at the wrong time? Like, I can't just fly into a Mordekaiser. Maybe if I wait for them to walk into me, I'll just breathe on them, they'll die because of a dragon.
Yeah. Right now, it's just going to be playing a little bit of back and forth. They have the vision set up this time for flash abusers for this dragon.
20 seconds. Very big condition because they're going to be able to just close down on these champions.
Ooh, that's going to be TP coming in from Rakata. He might be in trouble here. Styles going to be coming through, and this is going to be a massive Skies Descent. Going to be getting 3 people here. They're going to be turning that over onto Chaos. Chaos is going to be going down immediately. They're going to be trying to turn this over to Rakata. Ghostlifter's going to be chasing down Curse Wolf on the bottom side. Rakata's going to be flashing over the wall. But right now, this looks like it might just turn into an instant turn for an Elder Dragon here.
Yeah, Chaos dying in a chaotic brawl in the mid lane. They're going to have a numbers deficit. We can't say that Flash Abusers can get the dragon. We've seen 2 steals happen, one on Baron and one on a dragon. But if they're able to get this with all 5 team members, that's going to help them get the push that they need to secure these kills, get some of these champions that they need, and push the waves. Don't forget about the extra stats you get out of Elder Dragon as well. You're just going to be doing more damage overall. And Baron is also coming up in 10 seconds, which is going to make things harder to go into, especially the TP was just used into the mid lane.
Right now, you still have the blast cone, so there could be a look for a potential steal here. I think Lean probably only has the enough range. Yeah, Lean's going to be getting that blast cone, so we're not going to be seeing a grab from that.
Oh, yeah, no. Looks like they're giving it up though.
Sejuani's going to be giving it up. So right now, both objectives going over to the flash abusers here. So with this in mind, they probably get some backs off, get some items. I think we could be starting to get closer and closer to the end game here.
We could be getting closer and closer to the end game. The gold lead has exchanged hands once again, going into flash abusers who have all of their flashes up. So they're going to be able to possibly do some plays where they're just going to be able to jump in and hit stuff. Of course, Line is going to be able to just auto from further and further away as long as the game goes, and it's going to be harder and harder to kill Small Broski unless Chaos is just going to be able to auto attack them into oblivion.
So right now,
who also has a Quicksilver sash?
Wait, who else has a QS? Yeah, I saw that earlier. I was quite surprised that Cho'Gath decided to go with a QSS. I felt that he should be able to survive that.
You want to get CC'd. If the CC's going into you, that means it's not going into a carry.
Yeah, I think it really is wanting to be able to use that Feral Scream and kind of silence a lot of their options. But both teams going to be playing for this poke, but obviously the side with Elder Dragon's going to be taking the advantage here. It's going to be Chaos putting in 3 autos into Broski. He's losing a fair chunk of health, going to be healing it back pretty quickly, but this is going to be Vietnam just shoving in this bot wave all by himself. And hey, you got to watch out. The Singularity definitely hurts, definitely burns, and that's going to be Regina kind of going all in. He's just going to be astral gliding on out of there. I don't have to deal with these problems when I can just glide on out.
I'm a space dragon. Your problems are beyond me, mortals. As I split push as a Vietnam Dragon in the bot lane, not Small Broski. He's just there to protect his team, make sure they're safe.
Ooh, the hostile takeover is going to be coming through, but unable to really find a lot of damage. Ooh, Small Broski could be in trouble here, trying to run away best he can. That's going to be massive silence come back to it. This guy's descent coming through. That's going to be a triple knock up there. Finding that, and that's going to be Curse Wolf going down here. FCR is having to flash away. Rakata is going to be fighting Vietnam Dragon by himself. That's going to be Stopwatch coming in. Lean's going to be coming in to help his friend. He's going to be getting quite low, and Ghost Lifter is going to be trying to shove under the tower. Getting a little too ambitious. Is going to be going down to Regina George. And right now, they were able to take out Rakata. So you have Vietnam, you have Bento, you're going to be able to heal him up. This could be your dagger, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, it certainly could be.
Ooh,
With people being so
that
the
bailout's unable to do
not
anything.
bailing them out, and it looks like they're gonna have to figure out how to get these next 2 games for the side of 5 Cheese Ravioli. First game going to Flash Abusers.
Wow. I honestly, what a back and forth of that game. It started out a little bit
Such a to
was very much in the like Flash Abusers kind of favor, but then it just started to really kind of seesaw back and forth there.
Well, the Flash Abusers were learning from their mistakes, trying to get some of the setup. It was almost like they were just listening to me. I was like in their ear whispering, "Hey, if you do this, you won't have these issues." And they ended up winning. Of course, the big win condition being Chaos, who only had 2 kills that whole game. Right, like that was how they were going to win this super 44-minute game, super late, and without that coming into fruition, they weren't going to be able to take out these big tanks who you had 990 health sitting on Small Broski just from their mythic, not the fee stacks, not the grass, just that item alone.
Quite impressive. Quite impressive to see there. So, kind of, with everything in mind, on each side, who do you think gets the MVP?
So, for me, it's a little difficult here. Of course, Small Broski. No, it's not Small Broski. Olaf played things quite well, doing some counter jungling, making sure that they weren't getting. The enemy wasn't able to get some of this farm, and on top of which, really played off, and they were able to get some nice steals and some good setups. But they also weren't necessarily the strongest or really peeling out for their team like they needed to. On the other hand, Vietnam Dragon really did a lot of damage and really set stuff up. So I think Vietnam Dragon might be the contestant for MVP. Rakata did do the most damage in the game, which really helped, and they were able to get some successful picks offs. And of course, Chaos had a huge farm lead, but they weren't able to use that lead. So I would say Ace goes over to Rakata.
All right. And with that, we're going to be getting ready for game 2. This should be a very short break, but we're going to be right back, ladies and gentlemen. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be with you with the draft shortly. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are back after that very short break, and we're going to be getting into the draft.
Udyr, just like the last game, able to run people down, makes a lot of sense, can be quite potent in certain people's hands. And we saw how well Vietnam Dragon was able to play Aurelion Sol, so I'm predicting that being a ban as well. Of course, Akali can be quite potent in the mid lane, so if we saw that going as well as it did, then that ban still makes sense. We'll have to see how things are going to be changing up out of 5 Cheese Ravioli. Maybe they thought it wasn't the champions, it was the individual play styles. They weren't coordinating enough, or they just weren't able to use their lead as much as they would want to. But we'll have to see how they're going to respond here. It looks like all the bans are being kept here.
Yeah, same bands. So I'm gonna see if they're gonna go with the
first pick Asol?
I was gonna say I'm seeing if they're gonna go with the mentality of if it ain't broke, why fix it?
Yeah, you have to come up with an answer out of 5 cheese ravioli, right? So if you just run the same cup, you gotta lead. It worked. Like if they don't know the response, they don't know the response, and it's just a W.
Right here from Flash Abusers, we're gonna be seeing Olaf just come out immediately. First prio pick of the game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, like a strong first pick. Can be picked jungle or mid or top, and we saw what it did. Got a nice lead, prevented the jungler from going in. Very good into any sort of dive. Really good into anti-dive compositions. Gets you some nice picks. Of course, falls off a little bit more than some champions, but the strength is the early game, so you're going to be able to transition that in. And it looks like 5 cheese ravioli is just picking the Sejuani again. Are we just going to see the same game? We'll
no way Asol would make it to round 2. If it does that, I'm absolutely truly baffled.
Well, they're not necessarily going to pick stuff in the same order.
Yeah, we are already seeing Olaf picking in a slightly different position here. We're going to be seeing Ornn picked up onto the top side. You're going to be playing for a little bit more of this scale, but I mean,
they were already playing for scale. Mordekaiser's a juggernaut who outscales, well, not necessarily outscales, but still scales quite nicely and was able to get some of those picks.
I mean, yeah, with Mordekaiser taking the exit here, and we're now going to be picking up. Okay, that's interesting.
Are we going to see an Ashen and an Anivia as well? Are we just going to go with the thematic team here?
Oops, all Freljord. That would be.
Oops, all Freljord. We're already at 4.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy already. I think it. Yeah, you're no longer gonna require Flash Abusers to go like all QSS across the board this game. So that's already a 1,300 gold like item that they don't have to pick up, and an item slot they don't have to waste. Yeah.
QSS. Oh Absolutely. No, they weren't listening to the stream. How dare you not listen to my command? I am your god. No. Varus also going to be able to peel through a lot of these tanks with a variety of their builds. Whether they go with the crit build, just being able to use Kraken or Shield Bow to stay safe, deal a lot of damage, and abuse his kit. Or if they go with the AP route, also does good damage into tanks as well.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, is the audio still desynced? If so, I might just turn off stream very briefly, turn it back on, and get right back into it, just so we can all listen in at the correct timings. But we're going to be, let me know in the chat as soon as possible. But in the meantime, we're going to be seeing Nami picked up by the side of FCR, and we're going to be getting rid of that LeBlanc again. And I'm kind of... Wow, I'm still surprised we haven't seen a team commit to just get rid of Asol or picking Asol. Okay, there it is. Okay, I'm like, no way, it makes it through again. Your counter pick of
Wagon.
Yeah, like your counter pick of Yone got a single kill early, but then from that point on, couldn't touch Vietnam Dragon whatsoever.
Yeah, galaxy-sized plan there. You're doing the banning the Vayne, sure. Does a lot of damage, pretty potent, can dodge Varus's arrows. Makes sense, and is a late game monster. 5 cheese ravioli wasn't able to get as much value as they wanted out of it, but this is also no value, so we have to do a different pick here. Sivir's just going to help them run at the enemy team, or run away, more importantly, should they get caught out. So a pretty good utility pick. Scales pretty decently as well. The spell shield will prevent some of the burst you're going to be seeing out of Varus here, which is good. You're going to get some extra HP. You no longer get mana out of Sivir's spell shield, but just preventing that damage altogether is super potent.
All right, and we are going to be seeing Azir come through. Honestly, I don't get to see Azir often in kind of this echelon of gameplay. But Zir definitely is very potent champion that can find a lot of value with the Shurima Shuffle. So I'm going to be surprised if they're able to effectively use that in this set.
Yeah, we'll have to see how it ends up getting used. I'm not a super big fan of Azir, although his changes, I think, did go through where his tower does magic damage and it does just overall more damage. So if you're able to get those towers down, that will be quite potent and stop the enemy team from being able to push, which can get you a lot of leads. He's very good in organized play. If you have a very skilled user, the skill ceiling, very high in that champion, but the skill floor can be quite difficult to deal with. So we'll have to see if Vietnam Dragon is going to be able to Shurima shuffle their way into a victory here.
All right, and that's going to be your draft, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not surprised to see Anivia here. We really have favored the Freljord here in this particular game.
Yeah, I see them get picked a lot. They have a very good kit all around from their different teams here. Maybe we'll see some more Bilgewater champions for you in your next
One day.
stream. One day.
One day. No, so in light of all of this, we are going to be getting on over to Champ Select here shortly. But looking at kind of both lineups here, what team do you think has the advantage here?
The advantage. Now, Olaf is going to be able to be bailed out as well and ignore a lot of the CC. Of course, he can't ignore the wall, but everything else he can and can stick on to the damage that 5 cheese ravioli is going to have. Super potent. And of course, Trundle's going to be able to steal some of these very important stats as well. Should anyone pick Aftershock, he will be an absolute monster and can split way stronger than FCR can, which is something that teams have a strong problem dealing with, especially if Azir is able to utilize those towers being down, which makes for a fairly simple gameplay and just prevents some of FCR's gameplay of trying to go in because of just how Renata Glass operates as a champion. And I don't think FCR is going to get quite enough value out of their carries.
All right. So as we are waiting for everyone to get ready for this game, we're gonna push it back to commercial break briefly because we're just waiting for everyone to get ready. So we're gonna be right back, ladies and gentlemen. Don't go away. We're gonna be back with game 2 between Flash Abusers and 5 Cheese Ravioli. Go. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are back for game 2 between Flash Abusers and 5 Cheese Ravioli. Flash Abusers were able to take game 1, but now we're getting into game 2. And it looks like we're going to be going for yet again another 5-point. A lot of similarities between game 1 and game 2, but obviously champions are a little bit different.
A handshake here, coming out, exchanging abilities here. Not too much of a difference. No invading anyone else. Of course, the ward going on to the enemy red buff on the side of 5 Cheese Ravioli, but no such ward being answered over onto their jungle. Just one sitting into the river, which Cursed Wolf had. Cursed Wolf here also has Aftershock, which those extra stats once you go in are put on your champion, and Subjugate will be able to steal those and be stronger, which is going to mean Small Broski's going to be more difficult to kill if he gets that off on Cursed Wolf with these fights.
I think also another important kind of keystone to be looking at here is Unsealed Spellbook on Ricotta here. Ricotta is recognizing Small Broski's ability to potentially just kill him on repeat in lane. And so I think might be going for Ruptured Pillar for your early max instead of Volcanic Breath here. And just try to play for a much safer lane on the top side, if I had to guess, because Trundle could absolutely just smack up Ricotta here. That's gonna be a level 1 Volcanic Breath here. I'm kind of surprised to see that.
Yeah, possibly just doing for a little bit of trade, get the minions while you're a little bit further out. Of course, you're stuck going in a direction, so Broski just guarding his minions here. Maybe going to be able to chunk him out with a level 2 power spike.
Maybe, but otherwise across the board, I'm not surprised to see a lot of these keystones. I think an interesting one is just Hail of Blades on lean versus potential like lethal tempo, but I'm not surprised.
Hail of Blades isn't like super uncommon.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think it's uncommon.
I think lethal tempo might just be better here with the amount of HP they're going to have to go through. But Hail of Blades will help them just kill Chaos as a target with auto attacks rather than with his piercing arrow.
That, and you're going to be stopping a lot of the ebb and flow healing. Oh, right now we're going to be having a potential gank here. Right now, Small Broski in some trouble. That's going to be Cursed Wolf coming in with a dash. That's going to be a Glacial, the Frostbite proc, and that's going to be a Mist Flash over the wall. And that's going to be Ricotta getting first blood here on the top side. Wow.
Yeah, Small Broski getting stuck between a rock and an ice pillar there. His own dying, but says, hey, I think this is still a free lane, and buys a call here super early on. With the wave bouncing back, you're not going to be as punished because of how long it's going to take for Ricotta to get some of this gold over here. But it looks like Cursed Wolf is just staying into the top side, which means his bot jungle is going to be missing just a little bit more.
Ooh.
We saw this early invade.
Wow,
that long twice the CS. And
that long grab on the handshake. Almost getting PBG here.
Yeah, PBG is pretty low right now, but you do have some nice healing here as well with your pots and your abilities as well. And Chaos isn't necessarily going to be needing as much healing with the triple pot plus biscuits. 3 biscuits on this team. So a lot of extra mana and healing.
So right now, Cursed Wolf and Small Broski going to be fighting it out here in the jungle. That's going to be Aftershock coming out of Cursed Wolf. And right now we have Regina also rotating for this play. We have Ricotta coming through. We're getting, he's kind of getting slowed into oblivion. That's Flash coming out of Cursed Wolf. And this red buff slow is going to be enough to pick up the kill on 2. Small Broski looking quite rough here in the top lane.
Yeah, they were just assuming Olaf was going to be in their jungle, which means he wasn't going to be able to respond, which is a smart play here. And they were able to get a second kill onto them. So Cursed Wolf has a kill here. And more importantly, Small Broski got 0 minions after his first death with that cult, which is just going to delay his extra power. So if he's not as strong earlier on here, that's going to make things more difficult for him to play out. And of course, we're seeing in this with tanks right now that they're rushing for a Sunfire Aegis sooner because they just don't have very good push as a tank, and this gets them the extra push that they need which makes sense why we're seeing him build this nice Bambi's Cinder here. Maybe he'll be able to continue a freeze here, or if he needs to push, it'll be just a little bit easier for him to do so.
So here in this matchup, I don't know if you necessarily will just rush for the full Sunfire Aegis, but I do agree with the Bami's Cinder being very effective, being double the CS at this point of Small Broski, having a level ahead. He's most likely going to be 2 levels ahead here shortly, depending on how this all plays out. Yeah, I was going to say that's going to be very close to that. So he has called the Forge God, and we're not even close to having Subjugate on Small Broski.
He still has a big wave to pick up under tower, so he's going to get that XP. Maybe he'll lose some gold as well, but some stacks are going to be going on to here. It looks like Rakata is going for a nice, juicy roam. There is no wards to get caught up on.
So right now, that's going to be Call the Forge God, unable to find the second knockup. And Vietnam's just going to be getting out of there with the Shuriman Dash.
Yeah, a nice little shuffle out there, dashing out, making sure everyone is nice and safe. Of course, everyone being him. And with that roam happening, that means they're not going to be able to get these minions under tower.
Right now, Cursed Wolf going for the bot side, going to be getting the handshake coming through. He's going to be getting quite low himself, having to play away. But wow, Lean's going to be able to get that pickup there. I thought the Aqua Prism was going to be enough to stop that play, but Lean able to pick up that kill.
Yeah, the damage you get in the... Oh my gosh, the damage, the handshake,
oh my
the
gosh.
second kill.
Wow.
Oh, you have to wait for those minions to get it. Oh, we'll have to see. Oh.
Wow,
quite,
barely
no,
living.
Arrow, quite
oh
that
no.
was so close. But that means the wave's going to get shoved in. You're going to get caught out. There's 2 versus 2 kills here. The gold advantage being at 1,000 here, and they could possibly contest for this Drake, but everyone being so low, it's unlikely.
Right now, Bento might be able to possibly save him. That's going to be Cursed Wolf just getting the pickup here, but now they have the possible collapse. Cursed Wolf obviously having more health, but that's going to be the handshake. Bento has no more mana. Bento's trying to get away from this best if it can. It's going to be flashing away, but that's going to be Vietnam getting the kill onto Wolf. And wow, what a turnaround of plays here.
Yeah, Pop goes Sejuani. They had a plated steel caps, right? At this point,
yeah.
This isn't just them buying it in their death. Like, that's all.
Flash Frost putting in a lot of damage, but the Shifting Sand's going to be getting them out of that potentially bad play.
Yes.
But right now, Flash abusers are unable to really go and contest for this dragon. Cursed Wolf is just running right back there and is just wanting to contest for this dragon.
He is exchanging hands, and the side of healing, we know which team has it. And I just want to mention here that Listen is going with an AP build here. It looks like we're seeing a Nashers out of them. Typically, they end up getting a tier as well, just for the extra mana. And of course,
are we going for an early steal again? Is this early steal? Oh, no early steal this time. Okay. Okay.
Pretty close. Pretty close. The hype is there for sure. But this just means that they're going to be able to get through the tanks as well. This also means, though, their only AD is coming out of Ghost. Well, Subjugate as well, so Broski will be able to do it as well. So then they're not going to be missing it quite as much. I misspoke.
So right now, Bento is looking for a possible and grab. That's going to be the hostile takeover coming in, unable to get there, but the handshake going to be grabbing Chaos. Chaos could be in trouble here. Hail and Hail Arrows is going to be able to slow him down. Lean's going to be getting the pickup, is now on a killing spree. PPG trying to do the best they can. Aqua Prison missing, and that's just going to be a double kill for Lean here.
Chaos
showing a very dominant bot side.
Yeah, Chaos saying, I'm safe here. I got a spell shield. I'm just going to, spell shield the slow ultimate. What are you guys doing? It's a 20-second cooldown for, a minute one. Oh, the handshake coming afterwards. Getting caught out. And, of course, we saw some beautiful kiting coming out of line as well. So, well done. 4 kills here. 20 CS, which is going to help mitigate the deficit they have on the top side coming out of Flash abusers. Approaching a 2K gold lead. Not quite getting the steal here. But the Black Bone is going to get them out. Not quite yet, though.
We're possibly in trouble here. Yeah, the Glacial Storm going to be trying to get some of the damage onto Olaf, but the Ragnarok coming through. He's just going to be getting a lot of these autos off. Going to be taking Ignivia with him, but is then going to be dying in return. But right now, Vietnam has the shuffle, pushing him away. Cursed Wolf getting quite low here, having to flash on out. Now they're going to be turning this Ricotta. Ricotta's low mana, trying to dash away. Small Broski running after him. The shifting sands. Are we able to get a dash? Are we able to get this damage coming through? Ice. Oh, that's going to be the chomp coming in from Small Broski, getting that pickup against Regina.
Oh, Ricotta was almost going to get out of there because they had magical footwear, but no one else had boots. But stopping there might have just sealed their fate. They might have actually been able to get away with that, especially because they have a dash as well on Ornn. But death is death here. So just more gold on the side of Flash abusers. And there's some pretty big targets that have it. Of course, Linen has the gold lead that they really want out. And they're going to be hard to kill because of Bailout as well.
Also, no tidal wave at the 11-minute mark for PBG here. So that's just massive. They could find another potential window here to just grab them out. You have the hostile takeover coming up quite shortly here. Yeah.
Unless they leveled it wrong. But
yeah,
I doubt that's going to be the case.
I mean, as we saw it earlier, so we know that they didn't miss level. Okay, yeah. Tidal Wave, yeah, is going to be up. It's glowing blue, so we know it's there. But Ghost Lifter is just going to be unceremoniously just taking more and more jungle as this game goes on. The Glacial Storm coming out, and he could be in trouble. Didn't get any more autos. He's going to be going down to Regina here.
I absolutely love 5G's Ravioli's understanding of why they lost. They're able to adapt into this game quite beautifully. Sure, they're still losing some farm and, of course, some XP with it, but they're getting some nice rotations as well. The Spell Shield getting baited out, but more importantly, the Chains of Corruption.
Oh, right now, Bento's able to get the hostile takeover, and that's going to be getting PBG quite low. Oh, the Blighted Quiver and the Piercing Arrow coming out together, almost going to be grabbing Chaos here. And now they're in a a very dominant spot. That's going to be Aqua Prison coming on to Bento here, but unable to really follow up, get any damage coming through. They're trying to get some of these ebb and flows to get some of this extra healing. But
Piercing Arrow's going to be coming up soon. It's going to be dangerous for them to try and catch this wave, which means that line is going to be free to shove here, or they think they can contest here, which could get them killed with Spell Shield being down for like another 10 seconds.
Ooh, yeah, wow. Crunchy damage coming through here.
Bonk.
Yeah, that's just hitting like a train. Nashor's Tooth this early on for the bot lane is just quite rough.
100 AP, and with how everything else goes, if they were able to land Chain of Corruptions there, that was going to be some more damage. Ghost Lifter getting caught out.
He's going to be caught out again. However, that's going to be a low CDR on Ragnarok. He's going to be coming in through a lot of this damage, and he's going to be running away from this best he can. He's going to be going down to Cursed Wolf, but now they're going to be trying to turn this play. Cursed Wolf potentially in trouble here. Going to be going down to Small Broski. Now they could be returning this over to Ricotta, but you have Regina George coming in from the sidelines. Mike going for the potential stop. Broski's still going to be going in. That's going to be Shrima Shuffle pushback, and that's going to be Ricotta getting quite low. And that's going to be Regina going down. PBG unable to do anything to help his team. Right now, he's trying to run away best he can. And that's a lot of slows coming through. Are we going to be seeing the Ice Pillar? We're going to get the speed up from Broski. And that's going to be Vietnam getting the pickup onto Renata. And right now it's Chaos here on the bot side trying to do what he can to live. The stopwatch coming in from Bento. And Chaos is, just going to be going down. That's going to be a flash used by Line, but he's unstoppable.
They got that pickup on Ricotta there on the top side. Although Ghost Lifter trying to solo bowl of these objectives, being super dangerous. Of course, they were able to get some turns out of them as well. But if they were able to just set up those plays together, they might not have died in the first place. Possibly gotten some of these objectives to extend their lead. Of course, they certainly have a huge lead in the bot lane, and the Bork coming out of the top lane as well. Just so much split push potential, and a lot of important mythics and power spikes are coming out right now as well.
Ooh, that's gonna be Regina George here in possible trouble. Gonna be having to use their flash. Both summoners are down for Regina, so Regina might not be able to help contest for this dragon. Is gonna be slowly flying her way on over here, but
this is quite volatile because we already see a Dark Seal coming out of Vietnam Dragon here as well. Just gonna get some extra AP damage if they get any of these killed. Being ready for these fights, mid being shoved, bot not quite being shoved, byline here, but they certainly have the potential to do it here as well. A Rift Maker is the standard with AP Varus. You have a unique interaction with it. You're just able to get a lot of damage coming out of it. Once you hit your Chain of Corruption, you wait a little bit, get all 3 stacks, and you just chew through people.
Right now, they're just going to be going for this Mountain Drag uncontested here, and they're going to be getting this pickup here. Ghost Lifter getting that final cleaving damage onto the Dragon.
Yeah,
but they're going to be trading this for a Rift Herald, yeah.
Yeah, trading objectives, of course. 15 minutes for a Rift Herald versus the second Dragon. No one's going to be close to Soul here, but we saw what happened last game.
Uh-oh, that's going to be Hostile Takeover coming in through, and that's going to be, that's going to be PBG going down immediately, but now you have Bailout onto Ghost Lifter. He's just going to be running in after Chaos, and Chaos is hopefully going to try to trade back this kill. No, is unable to get that, not able to get that tower damage coming through.
The kiting out of Bork. Holy, like that item changes champions, just being able to run people down with a lethal tempo and Blade of the Rune King. That's a lot of damage. Of course, the exhaust will be able to save stuff, and with the wave being pushed, Small Broski could be vulnerable when they're trying to push for this top tower as well. This is turning out to be a lot similar to our first game, minus the steals.
Yeah, I honestly, like, I'm surprised to see some of this being as fairly close as it has been.
Like, Ghost Lifter has a farm lead because of the invade. The bot tower fell first. There was 1-on-1 in Dragons, and then the top tower fell, which rotated into a mid tower here as well. Of course, the mid tower is down as well, so a slight deviation here. But the first 3 towers sitting here at a 6,000 gold lead, 17 to 20 minutes into the game. This is all Flash abusers need to win this, and this is why I gave them the favor in the beginning, because they have such a better early game that they're going to be able to utilize here.
So right now, kind of just looking at the lead gained, where do you want to really start shoving? What do you want to play for at this point for Flash abusers to close out this game?
Well, mid lane is certainly a contesting because you are going to be having these objectives coming up on 2 sides for each team. Baron is going to be a little bit difficult. I don't think the lead that they have is wide enough. I've seen things get thrown because of how much of the resistances that has. So they certainly could just go for a bot to mid side and then try and prepare for this upcoming dragon. The extra healing is going to let them get poked out a little bit. Well, Chaos just throws some rangs and tries to poke them out at objectives.
So right now we're going to be, Bento could be in some possible trouble. Leans in trouble. Will he be able to get the flash away, the tidal wave? He's getting CC'd into oblivion. Cass is going to be getting the pickup. Bento is trying to get away best he can. And they're trying to help the team. That's going to be the Stream of Shuffle. Hostile Takeover getting 3. They're going to be throwing some damage into each other, but they're only at half health here. And this was definitely a disaster for Flash abusers, giving over a 950 gold shutdown to Chaos.
Getting caught out as a carry is such a detriment. Unfortunately, no objectives are up super soon. Baron in a minute, you're going to have time to come back. Of course, you're going to be dead, so you're going to be able to get some backs here as well. But when you have a lead and giving such a big shutdown, that closes the gap, which makes it easier for the enemy to come back.
So right now, Ricotta is just playing in the sideline by himself, trying to get these levels, effectively get an ornament for himself, get the upgraded Jack Show to the Unspoken Parasite, and try to really give out the ornaments to the rest of his team. The rest of his team is kind of struggling. Sejuani, I would say, excluded there, but really give them the lifeblood they really need for this game.
Yeah, the XP, very important on these laners here. Of course, just getting your abilities leveled up, but of course, the extra ornaments are super important coming out of the top lane. So just trying to mitigate that. It's easier to get gold with shutdown, but the XP difference is super important. PBG having the flash here 30 seconds before the dragon, and 5G's Ravioli has a snapback play into that top, with the Red Tower, which was running out of time, to be quite frank, but smartly played. We're probably just going to be trading this top tower for a dragon.
Yeah, and right now, you still have TP on Vietnam Dragon, and you don't have TP on Rakata, who has Exhaust Flash at the moment. So I think that this is going to be a fairly
Spellbook could change that.
uncontested. But it does take a little bit of a cooldown period.
That is true. That is true, but I believe he's had Exhaust for quite some time.
Yeah.
Vietnam Dragon's not going to be able to quite change things out here. They're getting the second crash, Call of the Forge God happening, but I don't think they're going to be able to dive him here.
Right.
I think it's a smart trade to try and get these objective bounties earlier on, simply because you need that gold to come back, and second dragon, you're not close to soul point, so just trying to contest and win this out is important.
So right now they're just trying to really just play around for some of these objectives. Do you think that Flash Abusers really needs to be able to close this game out right now and really just push the tempo, or can they just can they afford to play a slower game?
There's no need to play for a slower game here. They have the lead and they need to leverage it and not give them any breathing room. Of course, you don't want to be making mistakes and throwing your lead with it, but just being able to get waves shoved and a lot of pressure in there, George can only answer one of those waves. And using that to your advantage will net you a lead. Of course, the side of 5 cheese ravioli does have good scaling because of the ornaments as well, but they also have pretty decent scaling as well. Broski can just split push, wait for them to make an answer, and they can make an uncomfortable choice on the side of 5 cheese ravioli.
So, quick question, just kind of about these ornaments. Now that we're kind of getting to this time, who do you want to give it over to? Do you want to go for just the Primordial Dawn on the Sejuani? Do you want to go for like the Leandri's Lament on the Nivea? Who do you really want to give it to?
Cursed Wolf being able to just stay alive a little bit longer is certainly a good contender. Just getting more value out of that as well. And then all your damage is going to be coming out of George if you can keep people inside the nice little frozen hellhole that Nivea likes to make. But if you're not able to do that, it doesn't necessarily make sense to do that, at which point, if you don't think you can do that, it has to be going over to Chaos. And with how much range and spacing, plus the CC ignore, I think they won't be able to do that, so they have to put it on Chaos if they're going to do that.
All right, and right now Broski's going to be kind of taking half of Orin's health here, but he's going to get the Call of the Forge God. Broski going to be throwing back the Subjugate onto him. The hostile takeover coming through, getting 3, and that's going to be the Tidal Wave coming back against them. That's going to be the Ragnarok coming through, trying to get Rakata, going to be picking him up. That's going to be Ghost Lifter going down quite low here. PPG trying to get away best he can, but Leon's going to have to flash out of this play, trying to get some of the tower damage. But now they only have 3 on this side of the map, and you still have Vietnam uncontested on the bot side of the map here. Wow.
That's a 4-1 push and not the traditional sense. You think small Broski would be doing the pushing. But towers don't have as much magic resist, so just being able to go through there, super important. And of course, he still has his TP, so this is the uncomfortable choices I was talking about. You have someone just wailing on a tower right now, and they have to make a choice. Are we going to try and protect Baron? Are we going to try and get Vietnam? Is he too safe here? Is he going to be able to dodge all these important skill shots?
We're going to be seeing the shifting... Wow, the shifting sands into the Shurima Shuffle, into the Flash Wave, allows Vietnam to just get away from all of that.
All of that made that safe, and he got the tower there. And look, they're going to have to answer this push because of how stuff is. Flashes are down. Of course, they have their TPs up as well, so they can try and fight for this. But with the way the waves are going to be lining up, that's going to be an issue. Like I said, AP Varus does damage to tanks. This is like how potent he is. You don't necessarily realize it until you take a piercing arrow to the knee.
Yeah. And right now, that is going to be Varus ult coming down before the dragon. So I think that... sorry, not the dragon. Baron, I misspoke. We will see the team setting up for vision for the dragon. It does not seem that Flash Abusers wants to get ready for this Baron whatsoever. So they're just going to be throwing in a lot of damage into Rakata here on the top side. Might be going for this tower. I don't think Ornn can stop Broski at this point. Subjugate is up and Call the Forge God is up, but Subjugate really takes the greater end of that trade.
It certainly does. Subjugate plus Divine Sunderer,
Yeah.
Man, I'm like the 1v1 king. You want to go here, bro? I'll fight you, broski.
Because the Living Forge usually is just so nice, and it allows you to scale into this game because you get extra stats from all of your tank items. But it's just like, hey, what if you gave some of those extra percentile stats over to me? They're quite tasty.
No. Subjugate coming in here as well and just eating the tower.
Yeah, he's just going to eat that tower and just getting 600 local gold. But PBG is going to be throwing in this tidal wave that's called the Forge God coming through, and that's going to be just knocking him up over and over. But that's going to be a lot of resources committed to the top side. This 650 gold shut down over to Regina, but that's going to be at the cost of a dragon, and that is going to be setting up for soul point for Flash Abusers.
Dragon and tower is pretty close to that gold we gave, that 650 gold, right? So
that's gonna be way more than that for Flash Abusers.
Well, kill is 300 gold. Well, yeah, 650 in total, and then the global gold from the tower, and then the global gold and local gold from the dragon as well. Plus, how much ever math you want to do for the just individual dragon stash that you end up gaining as well.
Yeah.
Just not in terms of gold. Let's think about things in terms of pressure. You have inhib tower on both sides, and we've seen what a split push does. It doesn't have to be small broski. It can be Vietnam Dragon as well. They could go for a 1-3-1. It would be a little risky here, but that's really going to split up a team fight comp. And that's just going to split them, entwine, and they're going to have to try and figure out what can we defend, what can't we defend, when do we have to give things up. And with how all of this momentum is going in to Five Cheeses Ravioli's Nexus, it's just a lot to respond to.
So at moment, it looks like we're going to be going and brewing for a fight here, and Cursed Wolf having to dash away from this. But now they're just trying to fight for the vision. And we have Vietnam Dragon just slowly shoving in the top side, trying to just find any of these opportunities for one team to overplay it. And PBG is going to get the Aqua Prison. That's going to be the tidal wave coming through. The Call of the Forge God coming through. Lions just been CC'd upon CC'd, but that's going to be Vietnam Dragon in the backside. Pick it up, PBG. That's going to be Agnivia getting popped instantly. That's going to be Azir getting a double kill. And they're just going to probably rotate this over to a Baron, if I had to guess. And wow, what a turnaround of a fight. You initially had Lean locked down.
Yeah, so in game one, we saw, despite the goal difference, that FCR was going to be able to use vision and try and get a pick. But with this scenario, in this game, they weren't able to really get that vision set up, and they're getting caught out in their own jungle. Of course, the tidal wave was able to push back one of the big carries, prevent them from being popped, but nonetheless, the damage has been done. The goal deficit already exists, and they were able to fight through the jungle. And of course, you don't have a Vayne to condemn you against the wall. You have Rakata's ability set up there, but that was not enough with how much damage Lion is able to do. Who has a death cap right now, which is just so much more damage. We have a death cap here on Vietnam Dragon. That's going to be quite murderous. And Ghostlifter is getting awfully close to a death stance, and we already have a hull breaker on a monster split pusher.
Yeah, an important thing to note here is you have the Wormfall and Sacrifice onto Chaos, but Chaos is not able to get enough damage. Oh my. Wow. Broski just absolutely just chunking at Rakata there.
But Broski, he's 16. He's got his extra ult.
Yeah.
All the stats and abilities you get from that just make it way harder to respond to. With Baron buff, you're going to be able to get these minion waves under faster, and they're not going to be shoving back as well. Although Agnivia... Oh.
Wow, Lean's going to be getting that pickup on Regina George right now. That's going to be Vietnam Dragon in trouble here. The bailout's unable to save him, buying him those few extra crucial seconds, but he's not going to survive. But this is going to be most likely at the cost of the tower. They're unable to really effectively kill this cannon minion. The Aqua Prison coming out to slow it down. But on the top side, that was a tasty tower, and Trundle is hungry. And that's going to be Chaos in trouble here. That's going to be Ice Pillar coming through. Chaos could get picked up here. That's Exhaust coming through. And that's going to be Ragnarok taking down Rakata. Rakata is going to be going down too lean, but that's going to be Ragnarok pumping out more damage. Going to be no longer up for him, and that's going to be the lift and giving a kill over to Chaos. But lean, oh my gosh, hitting like a train. Ooh, that bailout barely saving lead there, but he's just going to be resurrected.
He's wailing on the tower here.
Yeah.
Oh, chain of corruption.
Oh,
they have a family. Come on, guys. They have a family. Oh, just getting those extra kills they're fighting for MVP. That's what they're doing here. They're fighting for MVP. Who was the most influential this game? The question we get to answer together. You, me, and of course, if they want to weigh in as well.
Okay, this game, I think 100% has to go over to Lean. I think Lean did a very effective job. Bento set him up very, very well this game, but Lean really just stepped up to the challenge, was able to kind of take the role of needed as carry and performed very well. And for the side of side of Five Cheese Ravioli, I think I would have to give that over to Nami. She had fairly good vision whenever she could. Obviously, her team was at a deficit. It was hard to find that. She was able to get that. She had a lot of good Aqua Prisons and tidal waves in a lot of these fights, doing the best she could. Sadly, unable to save a lot of her teammates at the end of the day, but I think she did output a lot of utility throughout that game. How about you? How would you go with?
I disagree. Vietnam Dragon played admirably in both games, was able to get a lot of pressure, gold, damage, etc. to how they wanted them to be playing. Most importantly, on the other side of things, Rakata was able to do well in both games as well, and Cursed Wolf really changed things around into game 2 and got some leads onto Rakata as well, and they were able to utilize that to some extent when we didn't think they were necessarily the most favorable of matchups.
Wait, are we talking about this game or the set?
Because I was thinking more of the set.
Whoops, my bad.
In either case, though, I think Vietnam Dragon still did quite well in game 1.
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
Right, and then in game 2, my point's still relatively the same here. That Cursed Wolf and Rakata really helped make the team more cohesive as a whole and utilize the champions that they had. Of course, PBG was able to get things done as well and protect people, but it wasn't enough. They ended up losing the bot lane, and that made line do so much damage, getting that gold, getting that tower plates, getting the kills, the XP, etc. They got picked.
Yeah. Without a doubt, definitely they got picked at the end of the day. Just too much damage coming through with these AP threats. All right. And with that is going to be the second game of the best of 3 going over to Flash Abusers. That's going to be pushing them through the Targon division into the quarterfinals. And that's going to be kind of sending home 5 Cheese Ravioli. Don't put your heads too low. There's always next season. You'll get them next time. But in the meantime, I'd like to thank Abba Trombone. Thank you very much for joining me here today on Style.
Yeah, it was very fun casting with you. Look forward to it. As always, we'll see you on the Rift next time.
All right. Good night, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good one.